Hey, really quick, before we get into the video, I want to give you a disclaimer. This is a video that I filmed and recorded months and months ago. One thing that you're going to hear me refer to is you're going to hear me refer to my brand as Level Up Lifestyle, which is what my brand's name was before I changed it to Divine Inspiration. So every time that you hear me call my brand Level Up Lifestyle, just remember that I'm referring to Divine Inspiration. Another thing that I want you to know is this is the first lesson that is in my Instagram Growth Academy course, which you can check out in the link in the description. It is a school community that is only $7 a month where I teach Christian content creators how to grow their presence on Instagram. And if that's what you're looking to do, and that's why you clicked on this video, I highly suggest that you watch through this. And if you really enjoy this first lesson, there's many more lessons inside the community. So go click that link below and join the community. But without further ado, let's get into the lesson. You're going to hear my entire testimony and my entire story of how I became a Christian content creator. Let's get into it.
Hey everybody, this is Ian. Welcome to the Level Up Lifestyle Social Media Growth Masterclass. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm so excited to teach you this brand new, amazing, life-changing skill of growing your presence on Instagram. And with that in mind, I'd like to segue and I'd like to start this course off with telling you my story, telling you a little bit about who I am and how I grew Level Up Lifestyle to the size and the platform that it is today. So one thing that's very interesting about me is ever since I was a little child, I was so into media and I was so into video. In fact, I remember one day when my dad came home and gave me one of the best gifts I had ever received before in my life. It was a brand new Nintendo 3DS. And while at the time I was super excited because I could now play some of my favorite games and I could binge watch YouTube all day, the real excitement started once I discovered the camera feature. See, the camera feature on the Nintendo 3DS is a little feature where you can record videos and you can do basic editing stuff. And the moment I discovered that camera application, I fell in love with creating content. I would sit for hours editing, making the video faster, making it slower, making my voice higher, my voice deeper. I was doing all kinds of edits as a young 10-year-old kid. And literally when I wasn't playing video games or I wasn't binge watching YouTube on my 3DS, I was most likely on the camera application creating content and replicating content that I was seeing and consuming all day from my favorite YouTubers. And it was one of my favorite activities and one of my favorite hobbies as a young kid. And now fast forward about a year later, I actually got my first ever phone, which was an LG Lancet, which is about the worst Android device you could ever think of or imagine. But to me as an 11-year-old kid, I didn't really care. It had a better camera function. I could take it and hold it in my pocket wherever I went, meaning I could record and film anything. And once I discovered that I could upload videos directly to YouTube straight from my camera roll on the phone, everything changed. And I officially became a content creator, growing my first YouTube channel at a ripe 11 years old. And to me, growing this channel was pure fun and pure joy to me. I wasn't doing it to make money. I wasn't doing it to get clout or to get famous or to have a higher status. All I knew was I was having so much joy and I was having so much fun creating content that I enjoyed, that I hoped to share with other people and hoped that they would enjoy it as much as I did making it. And so at first, my channel was a lot of Pokemon videos, a lot of me opening up Pokemon cards and playing Pokemon games, which I was just obsessed with. One thing about me is I have a very addictive personality. And so if I get obsessed with something, it's literally like all I consume. And so Pokemon at the time was literally all I consumed all day. It was literally I played the games, or I watched YouTube videos about it, or I opened card packs. I mean, I was obsessed with it. And so I made a ton of content about Pokemon. And then later, fast forward a couple years later, then I grew out of that Pokemon phase and I got super obsessed with basketball. and the NBA. And so I started making basketball content. I started making NBA content, and I started creating content in that way. But then everything suddenly stopped. And why, you may ask? Well, once I got to the age of, 13, 14, 15, I really started to care what people thought about me. And as I was in that transitional period of going from elementary school to now right dab in the middle of junior high, I was in this conflicting moment where I was getting bullied at school, which, to be honest, is not a surprise when I looked like this. I mean, I don't know about you, but that kid seems like a pretty bullyable kid to me. So I was getting bullied a lot at the time, and I was also going through a lot of anxiety stuff. I went through a huge mental health crisis as a young man where I was having 2 to 3 panic attacks a day, and that's a story and testimony in of itself. But due to all of those things, and due to especially the bullying at the time, I really had the epiphany and the thought of, man, if somebody finds my YouTube channel and somebody sees all these YouTube videos, they're going to have all this material to bully me off of. And so once I had that epiphany, went and privated all of my YouTube videos and completely set aside my passion project that I had, if you could say that, and didn't touch it for many, many years. And while that sounds like a setback, it was actually a setup, because through that really difficult time of my life, of my short life, where I went through that anxiety crisis and I went through all the bullying and all the just traumatic stuff that I went through in middle school, I gained a relationship with Christ, which is easily the most important thing in my life. More important than anything else is my relationship with God and my relationship with Jesus Christ. And I gained a relationship during that time, and Jesus completely set me free from all panic attacks, all of the anxiety that I had been struggling with. I mean, I went to counseling, I went to therapy, I tried every natural method that anybody would suggest to you, and none of it worked long term. None of it was really helping. But the second I gave my life to Christ and trusted in God, everything went away, and all of the panic attacks vanished. And so after I got through that phase, I was again really obsessed with basketball, really obsessed with the NBA. And so I really pursued a lot of different sports. And then it wasn't until I was 16 and I was a junior in high school where I picked back up the skill of editing and the skill of social media. Now picture this. It's about to be the end of my first semester of my junior year of high school. I had just gotten out of a relationship which had a very toxic breakup, and motivated and fueled by that breakup, I then go and fall in love with educating myself, reading a ton of books. I mean, I got obsessed with educating myself. I got obsessed with learning and growing my knowledge. There's a local library that's in the downtown part of my city that I abide in, and I used to go to that local library all the time. During this time of my life, I would go to that local library, I'd get a ton of books, and then I just consume, read as much as I possibly could. And I grew a lot during this time. I mean, I grew a lot of foundational habits. I became so close to Christ during this time. But one of the books that I ended up picking up at my local library was a book called Crushing It by well-known entrepreneur Gary Vaynerchuk. And his book completely blew my mind when I first read it. And basically in his book, Gary talks about how social media is going to continue to make an impact on people's lives, and how it's going to be a massive contributor in business, and how it's a skill that everybody needs to learn, basically. And once I read that book, and as I was reading it, it really made my gears turn. It really made my mind think back to the times of old where I was growing this YouTube channel, where I was having so much joy, so much fun creating content. And it made me think back to that time. And then as I thought back to that time, I thought, man, if I could create a YouTube channel at 11 years old and have so much fun with it, I know my 16-year-old self has the capability and has the maturity to now do it again. And so that's exactly what happened. I started the YouTube channel, Level Up Lifestyle, which initially was a YouTube channel just full of book reviews that I was reading at the time. And while that was a great start for me and a great way for me to get back into the social media space and for me to relearn some of the editing skills that I had lost, it was not the kind of content that I wanted to be making long term. So I quickly dropped those videos and then I started an Instagram page. And this Instagram page called Level Up Lifestyle that I started was inspired by similar pages that I saw where they posted motivational and inspirational clips from different podcasts. And now, as I started Level Up Lifestyle, I knew I wanted it to be different than those other pages. See, a lot of those pages are very, secular. They promote a lot of just worldly stuff. But I wanted the Level Up Lifestyle page to be different. I wanted it to promote Christ above all. I wanted it to promote things that are going to uplift people, things that are going to move people, things that are going to actually move people's spirits, not just their minds. And so I started going to work on that page. And at first, literally, I suggest go to the Level Up Lifestyle page on Instagram and scroll to the bottom. I have all of the content there. I haven't archived any of it. You can see the progress and the development that happened and took place because it was bad. You look at the first posts, they are trash. They're terrible. I was relearning how to do everything. I was relearning, what does well on Instagram. I didn't even know what does well on Instagram. I had no clue what I was supposed to be doing on Instagram, but I took action and I just kept posting. I kept showing up. I kept staying consistent. And I remember I had this huge dopamine hit and I had this huge just mind-blowing explosion in my head when I posted my first Instagram reel. Once I learned how to use CapCut, I created a short edit of Patrick Bet David. It probably took me like 10 or 15 minutes at the most. And I just posted it on there. Didn't know what I was doing, just threw it on there. And I remember I had, I think, a class or two. And then I went back on Instagram and checked it. And I could not believe that the post reached like over 3,000 people within just being up for a few hours. I could not believe that. I could not believe that I could reach that many people just off of creating a simple short message and video on my phone and then posting it on social media. I couldn't believe that that was even possible. And so from that early success, because I did not expect to reach thousands of people at all, especially with my first post, but due to that early success, I kept posting. I kept creating content. I kept trying to improve at least 1% better with each video, which is definitely a mindset that I want you to have as you go through this, especially if you're a new content creator. If you've never created content before, let's be real. Your first 50 to 100 posts are probably going to be bad, and that's totally okay. You don't need elite level equipment. You don't need crazy content ideas. When you first get started, all you need to do is just take action and focus on improving 1% better with each video. It can be, let me try this new font. Let me try this different filter. Let me try this different song. That's what I was doing. I just kept trying to improve, trying out different styles, trying out different clips, trying out different styles of music behind the speaker, and then seeing what works, because that's the amazing thing. And this is another point that I'm going to touch later on in the course. But the faster you take action, the more feedback you'll initially get. So you'll see what works and you'll see what doesn't. And so I just kept taking action. And I wasn't seeing much results from Instagram, but I was also seeing great results for not having any expectations at all with it. But after a while, I ended up starting a TikTok page. And from that TikTok page, it initially blew up very quickly. I could not believe how fast the TikTok blew up. I initially got my first 10,000 followers within the first couple months of the TikTok page's existence. And now off of that success, I kind of disregarded YouTube and I kind of disregarded Instagram and said, okay, screw it. I'm just going to go all in with TikTok and see where it takes me. And so that's what I did for a few months. And seriously, when I tell you that I had no idea what I was doing, I didn't. I didn't have a course like this with somebody guiding me through this. I didn't have a coach behind my back. I literally had nothing. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just taking action and I was just posting. And you having this course and having the access of the relationship with me is going to take you to the next level. You're going to be able to make progress that took me months to learn. You're going to be able to learn it within these 10 weeks. That's the beautiful thing about this course, is I'm taking everything that I've learned on my journey and giving it to you in a compacted form so that you can make exponentially more progress in exponentially quicker time than I did when I first started. And so back to the story with the TikTok platform, I focused solely on TikTok for a long time and it was doing pretty successful. I had grown it to about 25 to 30,000 followers when I then had the desire and the unction to go back onto Instagram. And once I started posting on Instagram again, it was very evident and very frustrating why I had focused all my attention on TikTok, because Instagram was throwing me through a loop. I mean, I was getting posts that would get thousands of views one day, and then I was getting posts that would get barely a couple hundred views another day. And so it was very frustrating for me, and I was very tired of it. But the one thing that happened was I just didn't give up. I just kept going, even though I wasn't seeing the results initially. I just kept going. And I promise you, that is something that you need to have as you're going through this journey, as you're taking this course, and as you continue to take your journey with social media. You have to have the resilience to not look at the numbers, to not look at the results, to not be outcome focused, but to be process focused. And you just have to have the resilience to keep going forward, to keep going forward, to keep posting, to keep creating content, even when it's not giving you the results you want. And that's what I did. I just kept posting. I kept trying to improve. I kept learning. I kept educating myself. I kept doing things that would grow me, doing things that would expand my capacity, and it would expand my ability to create better content. And I believe due to that diligence and due to me continuing to show up, that made me available for God to bless, which I remember during this time, I was praying to God going, God, I want to reach millions of people with this platform. And that's exactly what happened. See, on October 5th, 2022, I posted just another reel that I would, every single day. I was just posting another reel. There wasn't anything special about it. There wasn't anything different about it. It was just a clip from Angelia Lee Duckworth from her Grit TED Talk. It was just a cut up clip from that TED Talk. And I just posted on the page. And to my massive, huge surprise, within 1 week, the post got 1 million views. And I was completely flabbergasted. I could not believe that. I could not believe that an Instagram reel got 1 million views. And then the rest of 2022, so from October basically into January of the next year, Level Up Lifestyle absolutely blew up. And that reel continued to grow until it peaked at 9 million views. And from that one reel, Level Up Lifestyle blew up and grew to over 100,000 followers on Instagram. And what ended up happening was, after that one initial reel went viral, then people started checking out my other posts. Then people started binge watching the content that I had already been posting. And so from that, then another reel went viral. Another reel got 1 million views. Another reel got 100,000 views. Another reel got a few 100,000. And from that initial viral post, I've stayed consistent. I've continued to post. I've continued to take action. I've continued to adapt to different trends, adapt to different content, adapt to the Holy Spirit's leading as He leads me through creating content. And presently, as I'm filming this course right now, Level Up Lifestyle is at 341,000 followers. All glory goes to God, and all due to God just blessing the page. And now the big thing that I want you to realize and want you to know, as somebody who has grown a following on Instagram, is getting a great social media following will change your life. It absolutely will. If you have a business, it will grow your business. If you have a ministry, it will grow your ministry. If you have a personal brand, it will grow your influence. And it will definitely grow your reputation and will definitely grow your status if you're successful with it. But more important than all of that, social media gives you the ability to serve others and to serve God through your creative gifts. You get to make an impact in the world through just your phone or through just your laptop or through just your computer. I mean, I cannot even fathom to you how crazy it is to me to think that little short videos and little short clips that I've made at my dirty old desk have reached millions of people and have changed millions of lives that I won't even know until I go to heaven and God reveals to me all the people that have been changed and impacted through Level Up Lifestyle. And I want you to understand the ability, the influence that you can have if you are successful with social media and how important it is to use that influence for the glory of God. Because I'd like to say social media is comparative to a tool. For example, a hammer can be used to build something awesome. One person can use it to build something great. And another person can use that same hammer to go and kill somebody. The hammer had nothing to do with that person being killed or that building being built. The person holding the hammer did. And there's a lot of nasty, terrible content that is out there on social media because people are using the tool wrong and they're using it to harm others. There's a lot of content that out there that is dark, that is wicked, that is lustful, that is sinful, and that is leading people into that sin, leading people into temptation, leading people into idolatry and a lot of other things. There's a lot of that content out there. But John chapter 1 verse 5 says, the light shines in the darkness and the darkness has not overcome it. Meaning that every time you post on social media, sharing God, sharing Christ, sharing the love of Jesus, every time you make a post that lifts somebody's day up, that inspires somebody else, that motivates somebody, that makes someone's day better, every time you make a post on social media about that, doing that, you are being a light in the dark place of social media. And that's the whole point of this course. That's why I created this. I want to raise up and I want to make people that can be the light in the darkness of social media. And so that's my goal for you during this course. I hope this inspired you. I hope this lit a fire inside of you to take this calling of social media seriously. And with that in mind, we're going to go to the next video, which is about discovering your why and understanding the vision that you have for your social media presence. Other than that, I love you, and I can't wait to continue to teach you throughout this entire course.